session to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by invocation by Commissioner Davy Jones. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's bow our heads. I'm going to read Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 through 7, which says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Heavenly Father, as we come this morning, we thank you for the blessings on this community, and we give you thanks for the moisture that we've had. And now, Father, we give you thanks for harvest weather, and we ask that you continue to go with our community to give us those things that we need, those things that you desire us to have. And Father, as we join to conduct county business today, we invite you to our meeting. We ask for your guidance, and we give you that thanks today in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. The only comments from the chair this morning is that legislative committees meet today, and they call to order tomorrow with tax or tax relief being on the agenda there. Remember that they have a chance to get some really good work done, and please contact our representatives to see if they can provide some local ad valorem tax relief. We were apprised by the Kansas Association of Counties lobbyists that as of Friday, that doesn't seem to going to happen. So with that, a consent agenda, commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good morning. We have a nice audience in today, and is there anyone here to give public comment to the commission? Hearing none, we're going to change up the business agenda on the business items. First of all, we will have an executive session after staff reports, and then we will move first and take up on page 2 the county treasurer's office renovation at the request of our county treasurer, who needs to leave today. So Trista, you have the floor, please. Please announce for the viewing public.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I'm Trista Joyce, County Treasurer. So the board is asked today to consider authorization of a remodel and renovation of the County Treasurer's office in the Finney County Administration Building. The County Treasurer, County Administrator, and Building Maintenance staff began working with Architecture Plus in 2022 to explore options to correct physical deficiencies in the office that include security, deterioration of the front counter, and also to enhance accessibility and maximize workspace to the Treasurer's office. Included in this remodel will be replacement of the front counter, which will allow for 10 stations rather than the current 8. All stations will allow customers to sit down. And another feature is we will also add walls to reduce the noise within the office. In addition, there will be offices added to the back to allow for privacy when dealing with personnel matters. The project is expected to begin next year if approved, and will follow a schedule that will allow half the office to be worked on while the other half remains open, so that we are still open to serve customers the entire time. The fiscal impact of this project is to be approximately $400,000, all of which is covered by the County Treasurer Capital Reserve.
Thank you. Questions for the treasurer?
Mr. Chairman, just clarification.
Sure.
I just heard your last statement, 400,000 out of capital reserve. What's in your capital reserve account total?
I believe for capital reserve, it's just under just over 500,000.
So leave 100,000 plus
Correct.
capital reserve. Okay, thank you.
Anything else,
That's all I have.
Mr. Jones?
Nope.
All right, I think that we have a motion then?
I'll offer the motion to approve the request as presented.
Second?
Been moved and seconded, the commissioners approve the treasurer's request for the remodel and approve the funding of it from capital reserve. Our auditors will be very proud of me for this. Mr. Administrator, does his funds comply with budget reserves and cash budget items?
Yes, they do, both.
Been moved and seconded to approve the project. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
First on our business agenda is a fireworks resolution, and we'll hear from the county councilor.
As directed, I updated the previous resolution regarding fireworks. Previously, the resolution had just indicated that there was a blanket allowance of the discharge of fireworks in the unincorporated areas of the county from July 1 to July 5. At this point in time, the redo of that resolution is that they are at this point in time unlawful to be discharged in the unincorporated areas, except when waived each year in open session by this commission for that same period of time. This allows for a bit more ease of use with the yearly updates from the fire chief in order for this commission to be able to get that accomplished when we have conditions such that it would not be prudent to allow for it.
All right, well, I like the rework so that we can waive the ban on fireworks in the unincorporated area if weather conditions allow on an annual basis. So, and we are repealing 03/2021, correct?
Yes, that's within this resolution.
Any further discussion from commissioners? Is there a motion?
So you need a motion to repeal 03/2021.
True.
So moved.
We'll take them separately.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to repeal 03/2021. All in,
Fire chief is here. Do you want to hear from him?
not on this one.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, we'll adopt 10/2024 as presented. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll
Second.
Been moved and seconded by Commissioner Jones's that we adopt 10/24 as, or 2024 as presented. No, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have time to sign and get published. All right. While we're doing some paperwork, we'll next hear from John Ersick, our fire chief, on recommendations for the 2024 fireworks season.
Good morning. So after an evaluation of the county and working with Chief Rozelle in Sherlock Township and Paul with emergency management, we decided to go ahead and lift the ban this year. We've had 14 inches of rain since we've made the recommendation to ban the fireworks in the county. At this point, the drought looks good. We're ready to move forward with fireworks as usual in the county and the city. So,
Questions for the chief on the issue of waiving the ban as promoted in 10/2024?
I don't know if it's a question, it's more of a comment. You know, our part of the county has not had 14 inches of rain. just a comment, but I'll guarantee you that it's still very, very dry in our area, western. Now, I know you can't divide up the county
It's kind of the main focus.
area, but
Yeah.
it, you know, I like the original band myself.
Just, yeah, I agree. I'm trying to make it fair and allowing kind of the populated areas with Sagebrush, Southwind, Highland Edition, North Shore, and evaluating the green up and the overgrowth from the past summer. Everything, it looks good in the forecast to see a little bit more rain before the fireworks holiday kicks off, so. Been in talks with Paul and Chief Frizzell, moving forward with it and expanding our patrol from the city to the county, so.
All right. Is there a motion to waive the ban for the 10/2024 resolution just passed?
Lon, you gonna offer a motion?
I thought you were.
No, I'm waiting on you.
I would offer that motion, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second that, and that'll make some miscreants law-abiding.
Like my two sons?
Yeah, there we go.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Fair.
All right, we'll next hear from you, Chief, with regard to the monthly incident reports.
Kenny handle that one?
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Kenny with the Fire Department. So this is the month of May report. As you can see, the majority of the calls are going to deal with rescue and EMS-oriented calls, whether it's going to be accidents or helping EMS on whatever they need. After that would be the fires. No big fires out in the county, just small ones as far as a lot of people started to do more of controlled burns, and so if they don't call in, then we get called to those and stuff like that to try to mitigate that, to make sure that people do call in to at least notify us. As far as the townships, majority of the calls were gathered in Garden City Township, as you can see, and then just sporadically to the other townships throughout the month. But Garden City Township being the most busiest. So,
All right, well, help the viewing public understand your position, Mr. Smith, with the fire department.
yes, my position is training officer. And so really, I'm in the command structure. So I'm below chief. When he's gone, I kind of fill in his boots when I need to and stuff like that. And ultimately, I set up monthly schedules for the firefighters to go and do their training and then spend the money to allow them to go do the training as well. So,
Questions for the monthly report, commissioners? Or none? Thank you very much.
yep, you all have a good day.
Next on our agenda is to hear from the planning office with regard to Finney County 2024-15 parcel plat, Thackeray Acres. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Dante Thompson, Planner with Neighborhood and Development. Palmberg Land Surveying Services is requesting to plat the Thackeray Acres First Edition. The property is generally located south of 4985 Holcomb Lane, Finney County, Kansas. This property is currently vacant and the owner intends to sell the lots for residential use. Lots 1, 2, and 3 of Block 1 all contain approximately 5 acres. The property is currently zoned A Agricultural District and will need to be rezoned before the issuance of any building permits. The second submittal was submitted for review on May 28, 2024 and met the requirements. There are 2 alternatives in front of you. The governing body may approve the parcel plat, or 2, the governing body may not approve the parcel plat. And staff recommends adopting the Planning Commission's recommendation by approving the parcel plat. The applicant, Dwayne Palmberg, is here, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioners, questions on this request?
I'll defer to the commissioner who's over in that area.
I don't have any questions. It's amazing that that area is very prone to wind erosion if they start disturbing the surface. Very.
right, thank you.
If I read the notes correctly, the planning commission was unanimous in approving this.
That's correct, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move the approval of the partial plat.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to approve the parcel plat as presented. Any further discussion other than taking care of our land as it is developed? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
No. All right, next on our agenda is a waiver request on 3104 West Jones. Mackenzie, we've been through this one before. I don't think we have to retrod, and be brief if you would.
Okay. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. As you mentioned, this has been tabled the past 2 times now. Just to give a little background, the there were 2 trash enclosures within the right-of-way that were put there without prior approval, and both are causing some visibility issues, and so the landowner is asking to keep one of the trash enclosures on the property. So he is here this morning as well as the contractor, so if you have any questions for him, they're here to answer any of those.
All right, do you have any questions for Mackenzie before we give the floor to the landowner? Thank you. Mr. Smith, would you like a chance to address the commission, sir? First of all, I'd like to comment that I really appreciate the improvement and the investment in our community on the west side. As you know, I voted against granting the waiver last time, so don't read anything into it other than those encroach onto it.
Absolutely.
So proceed, please.
Thank you for your time. I also have a plot plan I could show you. I've done some research, and the Kansas statute, it shows that except when proceeding, except when directed to proceed by a police officer, every driver of a vehicle approaching a stop sign shall stop at a clearly marked stop line, but if none, before entering the crosswalk on the near side of the intersection, or if none, then at the point of nearest the intersection roadway, where the driver has view approaching traffic on the intersecting roadway before entering. So what the measurement is you cannot have a stop sign more than 50 feet from the roadway. So at Anderson Road, the stop signs on the south side is 45 feet. On the north side, it's 40 feet. So you are allowed to proceed to the intersection past the stop sign because they have the turn for the semi, so they don't take out the stop signs themselves. And I have some photos that I would like to show, showing I took one of a semi at the stop sign, pulling up, and then a car turning where there was still a distance between the car, the semi, turning off of Jones Avenue on Anderson Road, which does not negate the fact that I was unaware that I was not allowed to put that, and that's the encroachment on your property, not mine.
Please proceed if you have those readily available.
I do, and I also have a printout of the mandate if you would like one as well.
That statute that you just read, Skeeter, would that happen to be 8-568?
It's 8-1528.
Okay, they've changed those, and since in the early 60s, that was 8-568.
Yeah.
Read the same.
Yeah, this amendment was 8-2008.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And if I could just approach and pass.
Please give them to the clerk, and she'll pass them around.
It's just I have them marked from each one of our frontage to kind of give an idea of where they're at, and then shows the clearance of each one of cars approaching, where they're at, showing that we are pulling up to have clearance. We still
viewing public can't hear you, so if you repeat your sentence,
I'm sorry, yes, thank you. I'm new at this.
please describe what's in the exhibit.
What's in the pictures, it shows the front of the building, it shows the location of the enclosures. It also shows the distance from the enclosures going out to the street. And I also have some pictures in there from Cummings Road to where when you pull up going southbound off of Cumming Road onto Mary, there is a sign there that is right there at the stop sign, and there is no visibility whatsoever. But with the mandate, you are allowed to pull forward, and from the stop sign to the roadway there, it's 15 feet, so you can still see that they can pull out, see clearly to go ahead and enter traffic. And Acosta Mobile Home Park, I showed a picture of that. That is even closer, where they have a fence and things blocking the view. It's not a stop sign, but it's also entering the roadway. And on that one, you about have to pull straight up to the roadway to enter the roadway to turn for clearance, but you still have visibility to turn and enter the roadway safely.
Any other questions from the commissioners? All right, very good.
Excuse me, I'm doing, I guess I can't chew gum and do the pictures at the same time, but, Mr. Chairman, I wasn't present at the last time when you were here and when this hit a 2-2 vote and was tabled. My question is this: as I read the narrative that we've been provided by staff, and I know, Mr. Chairman, some of this might be repeat, but it said that these trash dumpsters or containers were not a part of the original plan, and I echo the chairman's thoughts. I really think you did a great job of upgrading the property, adding to the property, and so forth. But it's my understanding from staff's report that the placement of these were not authorized in the final approval of the plans. And then secondly, that they sit on county property rather than on private property. Am I understanding those two things correctly?
No, that is correct. The trash containers had been there since we did the add-on for the facility, and so it changed the location. And with the location of the wind, what we have is we have light masking papers, we have plastic and things that we cover cars with, we have sandpapers. It's a lot of light paper and product. So when the wind comes up, it started to blow the lids up, and it was blowing stuff out into the roadway across the road. And that panicked me, because if it blows out on somebody's windshield or something like that, I'm liable. So I just was like, we've got to get this fixed, unaware of, thinking it was just an enclosure, not understanding that I should have went and got a permit to have this done. But I did that for the safety of blowing and also blowing trash into the neighbors. We have a mailbox. We've since changed it to where we've had to chase mail clear out back into the mobile home park to the north of us from the wind. It gets to stirring there, and it comes across. And I just wanted to do it for the safety, for the people, and make it presentable to where it just doesn't look like like just an old enclosure, to keep all the trash contained in there.
And I guess you've answered a piece of the question. Did you realize that this was on county property or not, or when you?
I did know it was on county property, and being a trash container, I did not, honestly didn't even think about it, just trying to contain the trash.
That's a fair explanation.
All right, Commissioner Jones, Vice Chairman, do you have a motion, sir?
I move that we grant the request for the waiver to keep the east container and move the west container to a different location. I don't know what the location is, but that was the way I voted last time, and I think you're driving out of a private driveway on the east container, And so if you drive out where you have line of sight, you know, it's pretty evident that it will work. So that's my motion and comment.
I'll offer a second amendment, but may I ask a quick question?
Sure you may.
Skeeter, what you're proposing is to move the west container eastward about midway down on your property, but
Yes.
still on the right of way, is that?
If that is possible, to give the clearance, so, to not obstruct the sight of drivers.
Larry, that was your motion?
I wasn't aware where he wanted to put the west container.
I'll second his motion.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Please do.
I move that we allow him to retain the location of the east container and move the west container where it does not impair with line of sight.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion?
Well,
One more question, Mr. Chairman.
All right, yes.
In your offer, you also mentioned some liability insurance.
Absolutely.
You want to include that in the motion because he's willing to take an extra step for those.
It was mentioned that there could be liability if somebody ran off the road and hit it, the enclosure, that the county would be liable, and where it's my property, you know, I would get the insurance for the easement for that to take the liability off of the county.
I want to be clear, we're not granting an easement. We're,
I mean, just the allowing me to set that there, I understand, yes.
The insurance is a separate issue than what my motion is.
Okay, it was in the report, so.
Mr. Chairman. Sir. Before we vote on the motion, one is I would ask that it be amended to say with staff approval, with county staff approval, if we're going to allow that movement. And then secondly, I would look to council and to staff with regard to our liability with these containers sitting on county property. So I'm looking at council and staff with regard to how to address that.
I also have a plot plan here showing where the containers are at this time, and I would be glad to leave this to where if they come to where they feel it would be the best place for positioning it, we could mark it right on here. That way it would be absolutely where they would like it to be placed.
I appreciate you offering that, and absolutely that's appropriate. But council and staff, with regard to the liability issue for any of these being on county property, what's our exposure from a county perspective?
And I'm not sure about this liability insurance that he's referring to as far as putting out there, although I don't know that that necessarily negates liability of the county. It is in the county, on the county's property, and I think you're still looking at liability there. And as far as placement of a new one, I'll defer to.
If the enclosures are 40 feet off of the roadway, and if there was something that, like, I had a sign that was about 40 feet off the roadway, to where if somebody ran, and I did have somebody slide in and hit the sign, their insurance paid for it, where they veered off the road, slid off, and hit my sign. So I didn't know if that's different with the county, or where it's visibly, it's not up by the road, it's 40 feet away from the road, and where it's, you know, it has a slight curve, but nothing to where there's not an intersection to get hit to come at it or anything. Just was wondering about that.
We're going to call the question, and it's seconded to grant a waiver for the east, and that the second be moved as presented in the motion. Is there a further question, sir?
Not a question, but a quick comment. What I compare that container sitting out there to is a mailbox, which is also privately owned but on public right-of-way. And he'd be fine putting a mailbox right where those trash containers are, and we don't worry about somebody running into the mailbox. So with that, I'd be willing to vote.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, the discussion ends. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay, or
Nay.
whatever.
We're at 2-2, and Commissioner Dries is farming today, and unfortunately, we are also at a time where we have a session with KDOT. We're gonna table this again, sir.
Okay?
Sorry, we didn't have a resolution for you. So what we'll do is, I'm not going to put it on the first because I don't know that harvest is gonna be over by then, and I don't know that Commissioner Dries is gonna be there. So we'll put this on the 15th of July.
Okay. I appreciate the consideration.
Well, like I said in my opening remarks, this is a wonderful improvement and investment in our community, and I want to see a proper resolution of the issue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Skeeter.
Right. For our technology people, we have KDOT scheduled at 9 o'clock. Since the last thing your chairman is techno, I'll ask you to make it happen, sir.
Ron, you're the only one here joining us in person, correct?
All right. Well, Mr. Hall, would you come up and announce yourself to the viewing public, and thank you for coming in today.
Okay, Ron Hall with KDOT, District Engineer for Southwest Kansas.
So, first of all, welcome, Mr. Hall, and who do we have online with us?
Andrews.
Gerald Bennett. All right, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bowman, welcome to the Board of County Commissioners. You're going to give us an update on South Highway 83. Who's doing the presentation this morning?
The project manager for this project.
All right,
And,
I hear you. That's the wonderful thing about not having to drive 305 miles from Topeka to Garden City is that we didn't have to drive there. So let's make this thing work. Would you start over again with your introductions, please?
Sure, I'm Brogan Andrews, KDOT Road Design, and I'm the project manager for this project.
And who else is with us today?
Ryan Bowman with KDOT Road Design.
All right, thank you. And I have another person.
Gary Bennett, Project Development Engineer.
All right, and one more?
I'm John Reganson with Kirk and Michael. I'm your Finney County contract engineer.
All right, thank you, John. Why don't you go ahead, Brogan?
Sure. Good morning, and appreciate everyone meeting with us today. On my agenda here, I have a video I'd like to play for you guys, just kind of an introduction to the project and kind of an overview. You guys have a screen you're able to see?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh. Sorry, give me just a second here.
Welcome, and thank you for your interest in the US 83 reconstruction and passing lane.
Just want to take a second to pause, make sure everyone can see the video and could hear it okay.
Proceed, please.
Project in Finney County. This project is currently in the final design phase, with construction anticipated to begin in summer of 2025. My name is Ryan Bowman, and I am a road design leader at KDOT. I will be walking through a project overview and update. First, we'll walk through an overview of key project details and anticipated benefits. Next, we'll look in a bit more detail at areas where access and design may be changing. Finally, we'll wrap up with the current anticipated construction timeline. KDOT is reconstructing nearly 13 miles of US 83 from just north of the Finney-Haskell County line to the Arkansas River Bridge, south of Garden City in Finney County. The estimated project construction cost is $59 million. So walking through the map you're seeing in front of you here, the solid orange line on this map shows the full construction of new US 83 that starts, as I stated, down just south of TV Road all the way up to the Kansas River Bridge up here. It also shows a junction with US 83 business. In the dashed orange, you can see where the passing lane is located in this stretch. And in light blue are the new access roads being used, or being constructed, I should say, for this project. Light green shows roads that are local access only, which are mostly what is existing US 83. And this will kind of allow landowners access to their properties that they're once able to access directly from US 83. And then in the dark blue shows portions where the roadway will be removed. So there's a few spots on here I'll kind of hover over and highlight. All roadway being removed along US 83 from this stretch on. KDOT will retain that right of way for a future 4-lane expansion. This portion of US 83 is being redesigned as a 2-lane highway with a focus on safety. The design includes consolidating highway access points, improving intersection angles, and adding turn lanes and lighting. Once complete, the project will increase capacity and reduce congestion with the addition of passing lanes, the arrows pointing to here. These new passing lanes will help address public concerns with congestion, truck traffic, and limited passing opportunities. US 83 is being realigned south of the Buffalo Dunes Golf Course to better accommodate a potential 4-lane expansion, as I touched on earlier. Reducing the number of direct access points to US 83 decreases the number of potential conflict points where crashes occur. US 83 highway access will remain the same at intersections shown here: Annie Shear Road, Pete Smith Road, Parallel Road, Pine Mill Road, and TV Road. Several side roads and driveways with current access to the highway will be closed, with traffic being rerouted to these select intersections via local roads and or new access roads. And those are shown again in the blue and in the light green in our legend here and in the map. The intersection of US 83 and Annie Shear Road will be reconfigured to increase visibility and improve the angle of the intersection. The realignment of US 83 also allows 2 lanes of traffic to remain open throughout construction. The north entrance to Southwind will be realigned with dedicated turn lanes added. The south entrance to Southwind will remain open based on community feedback received, and you can see these kind of connections being made. Your new southwind access is coming at this point right here where my cursor is, and then following this, and this roadway in dark blue will be removed. Your north access is changing from here to be realigned with US 83 business, coming off through here, and also adding a connection in here to Andover Road. We'll wrap up with an anticipated construction timeline. Please note that this is anticipated and may change due to things such as utility relocations and weather conditions. Construction is anticipated to begin in summer of 2025 and to be complete in 2028. For local Southwest region KDOT contacts, Gary Bennett and Yasmin Moreno are listed here on the screen. The project webpage will also be updated at key milestones as the project progresses. Thank you for your interest in the US 83 reconstruction and passing lane projects in Finney County.
All right, I hope that gave everyone a good idea of the project and kind of a good in-depth look at everything here. I got this video, our public involvement crew and PMC helped put together this website. Goes into good detail of the project description, got a project map, and the video can also be found here as well. I will go ahead and I will share this with you guys. And this is available for the public. It just got published on Friday. So I will put that in the Teams chat for you guys. But other than that, I will go ahead and get started with why we're here today. So as the video mentioned, there are stretches of existing US 83 that will be removed, and then as well as there are sections that will be kept for access, and those sections are going to be turned back over to the county. And we're mainly looking at this section from just north of TV Road to just east of Annie Shear. The section where we're offset from the existing. So just north of TV Road, where we're coming off alignment, we will be obviously eradicating everything before that. But as the video mentioned, KDOT will be retaining that right away, and that's for the future 4-lane expansion. So starting from here is we will be giving all this back to the county, as I had mentioned. And just to be clear, the red area is the eradication. So that will be completely removed. And any area of existing 83 that will be turned back to the county, we will be removing the shoulders to slow down traffic and for less to maintain for the county. So moving to Plymell Road, all of this stretch will be turned back to the county. Farther north to Parallel. And I should note that the reason that we are not leaving this whole stretch of existing 83 is to prevent through traffic and to prevent or to make it local access only. And then as well, less to maintain for the county. So through Parallel, starting to remove larger sections here because these landowners have access elsewhere. And through Annie Shear, and as we tie back into back onto alignment, this landowner will have a cul-de-sac, essentially, a small cul-de-sac. And then this will be also good for plows and emergency vehicles. Moving farther north, I just kind of want to emphasize this intersection, the south intersection of Southwind. So this intersection here will be good for the Miller property that I know you guys probably have had some discussion with as well. We're utilizing some of existing 83 to tie back into Brookside Drive to maintain access for Southwind, as well as for the landowners here through Brook Over Ranch Road and for the substation here.
While we're at that point, this intersection on the south intersection for Southwind, in less than 5 years, when we have 4-lane being considered, that intersection stays the same, does it not?
So the location, yes, will be the same. And I could pull up the plans too, and I could kind of show the future road through here, but it'll be on the south side, or I'm sorry, east side.
Correct. For now,
But yes, so the intersection will remain here.
Very good, thank you. Please proceed.
Yep. Moving farther north, and this is our other topic of discussion here today. But as the video mentioned, we have our realigned entrance into Southwind here to line up with US 83 business. And currently there's a cattle pass structure on the existing 83 around this area. But since we are offset alignment, we can't keep the existing cattle pass there. But so there's talks of a future bike pedestrian trail coming from Southwind into Garden City. And we are able to include this structure for the pedestrian path if the county or come down to the county to pay for it. But they would only have to pay for the material costs, and KDOT would cover construction costs while we are out there constructing the new 83.
What does that cost?
The cost, I ran an estimate last year, and it was around $120,000.
Right, and then when the 4-lane is built, are we talking about another box?
Yes, so I can also bring up the plans, but I'm sure it could be extended. And so the future condition, I think, was anticipated to be 25 to 30 years. But yes, it would definitely need to be extended. But it wouldn't have to be removed or replaced. A simple extension would suffice.
All right, and then right in your middle of your right-of-way, there's a new oil well, in case you didn't know.
In this area, or where we're at?
Your new planned highway at just above to the southwest of the proposed box is a new oil well.
Okay, in this area then?
In that area, just straight southwest of the proposed box.
Okay.
And I didn't know what you guys had in mind about what we're going to do with that oil well. Merritt just drilled it this year.
Okay, I'm not certain, or I'll have to find out exactly the location, and I guess if it's in a right of way or how far off the roadway it is, or in the clear zone or whatnot. But if so, the landowner would be compensated.
Okay, well, I just think that we have an interesting issue of that new construction. It's just right off, it's right next to the existing gas well that is pictured in that frame, and the oil well sits right beside it. So I didn't know where you were going to get this new highway fitted in there.
So where are we looking at here?
Okay, you can see on your presentation here where your hand is right now, you can see where the existing
Yep.
gas well was. The oil well is right there.
Okay. Well, us being to the northwest, I think does help our situation here. I don't know what's going on with Google Earth right now, but
Well, we're all having fun with it. I'm just not, I don't know my distances well enough to be able to assist you, but I'm concerned that we may need to move. Perhaps there's enough room there. I don't know. You just need to check that out.
Yep, I will definitely look into that more. But from a basic overview, I think we should be good since we're on the northwest of the existing alignment. But I will definitely look into that more this week.
Okay, and then my concern also here, if you go onto the north towards the river, you're moving Burnside Drive and creating a T intersection at right angles. I get that, but that's also a hill coming down from the east off of Mrs. Dommy's property. Was that taken into consideration of putting that intersection there versus leaving the intersection where it was before?
I can't say. I don't have too much information on the design of this intersection.
Hey, Brogan, we should be able to look into the profile of that new road. And make sure that we're not creating a site issue, which should have been evaluated by our design consultant when they did the plans here. I think the offset is more or less so that it could be reconstructed while that crossing remains open.
Well, with the latest oil and gas development, we have 4 or 5 trucks of oil going in and out a day, plus you have the 5 irrigated quarters of ground, and it's the back way from the ranch back to town from Brookover Ranch. So I'm concerned that we have a little bit more traffic there than perhaps folks were aware of. And I don't like intersections where semi-trucks have to stop going downhill onto for us, a major highway. So please look into that as to how much of that hill is going to be taken down. They are sand hills. It doesn't take very much to move them and level them out.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. I'll definitely look into that.
Thank you. Please proceed.
All right. But as for that is the information that I have, and I guess we were just looking to get confirmation on the turnback locations that I mentioned. Just the county being okay with the area of existing 83 that we are going to be turning back over to you guys. As well as the confirmation on whether the county wants the box structure for the future ped path. And I know we talked last time we talked a couple weeks ago. We mentioned that we are getting close to the final plans, and we are nearing needing a deadline for these decisions in the next couple weeks. I think we mentioned July 1st, but yeah. As for that, I mean, I'm open for discussion or questions.
Are you seeking our recommendation as to the amount of highway that you're going to, of old 83 that you're going to destroy? And does this commission have the ability to have some input as to whether we keep that for better access to the landowners? Because what you're proposing is to break it up. I know that you're not wanting to create a drag strip alongside the existing U.S. highway. when
Right.
when present 83 is abandoned. I get that. But if landowners want to have paved highway all along that way without it being destroyed, this commission should hear from those landowners as to whether they want to keep all of that existing highway intact, or whether we want to chop it up as proposed in your plan. I think that we can have that for you. I don't know about July 1st very easily, looking more towards July 17th, if that still works within your plan.
I think that could do as a final hard date. I do want to emphasize that back in 2021, we had our field check. We came out, had public involvement, where they came and looked at plans, and also our district and area engineers were involved. And this was ultimately a result of those meetings that we had. To remove the portions as well as keeping the existing portions needed just to maintain access.
Right. I appreciate everything that everyone's done, and especially the time and presentation today. I've spoke quite a bit. Other commissioners, do you have questions or concerns?
Well, Mr. Chairman, Brogan is right as far as, or is it Brogan or Brogan?
Brogan, yep.
Yeah, sorry about mispronouncing. He's right in the fact that there's been a lot of public input, and that's part of the reason that they reconfigured the south entrance to Southwind and so forth. It was based on that public input. And my question is to our administrator with regard to his request for how much does the county want to take back, and are we okay with their plan and what they've suggested that we would be accepting as a county responsibility? Because I know you've had some additional conversations directly from staff to staff.
That's correct. Mostly the Public Works Department has really hashed this out along with John and CW. So I think we can come to you with some suggested recommendations for you to consider, probably on the 1st during our work session. Even though we'll be going through the budget, I think this will be a part of that as well.
Right, and we have a hard date of July 15th.
Yes, that's correct.
Will that work for you, Brogan?
Yep. I think that'll do. We just, as I mentioned, we still have to, whether the decision comes back to incorporate the box structure, we have to get that designed before the plans are set to let at the end of this year, either the end of this year or early next year. But so we still have to get that structure designed if that's the route we go, as well as need time to make any changes that come from you guys. So, but yes, I think the that July 15th date will work so long as all decisions are made by then.
Mr. Chairman, one additional question. Brogan, with regard to that box, you had mentioned your estimate of 125,000 was about a year ago or so. Would you
Correct.
be able to, within the next week, get us a closer number and to know if it's still close to that 125 or if it's increased or probably not decreased from that?
Sure. Yep. I can do that. And I do just want to know. I mean, it's a pretty rough estimate. I'm just kind of estimating size and length there, but I can definitely get you another updated estimate.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yep.
I have no.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Administrator? Oh, excuse me, Vice Chairman?
Between Parallel Road and Plymell Road, you are taking out a section of the existing 83, correct?
Parallel. Yep. Just a short section to break up the through traffic there.
North of Parallel up towards Pete Smith Road, is that going to be retained completely, or are you taking out part of that one? Because I don't see
this stretch is nearly fully eradicated. just north of Parallel, there's a tiny section for this landowner here.
Okay.
But as far as that, the rest of it is
Eradicated.
to be completely removed. Yep.
Clear on up to Annie Shear intersection, you said, I think whatever the next intersection is.
Correct. And then, yep, past Parallel, or I'm sorry, Pete Smith, pretty much up until Annie Shear is also fully eradicated, except just to right here to accommodate these landowners here.
Okay. Well, that was my main question, and then, okay, we'll wait and hear from landowners, I would imagine on this.
I would encourage the landowners to get in hold of us or the administrator with regard to their desires on what amount of the highway should be removed. And also for the county to undertake the maintenance of that at the same time. And that's a hard decision that must be made by the 15th. And the only discussion time that we have is the 1st in a work session. And we can take it up, I guess, on the deadline date, but I would like to have that planned out well in advance. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, with this discussion about the landowners and what's going to be eradicated, Brogan, is there a way to provide to our administrator a list of the people who have had input on this at this point? Some of these landowners you've mentioned that you're trying to make access for. Is that public information that you can share with our administrator so we know who's already been had input in this?
I don't think it's public information that is, that is out there anywhere. I can look and see what kind of records I have. I know for sure a big one was the Brookover, and they have a lot of this land through here, and they've had a good deal of input. I know he's been pretty easygoing, but as far as that, I can look and see what other landowners maybe attended those public involvement meetings, and I can see what I can dig up for you guys.
And my only reason for
We should have a record of that.
my only reason for asking is that we're not reinventing the wheel and we're not duplicating effort if people have already had some significant input.
Sure.
Okay, one of the items that we will discuss is the payment of the $125,000 would go in 2025 or 26?
That is a good question. Maybe Ryan could provide some more insight.
Yeah, so I think that this would have to go in 2025. Essentially, what we're looking at with this is that we will have a agreement written up. We already kind of have one written up with the turn back, but we will modify and then add, as needed, the box structure to that agreement.
So if we're gonna plan for it, we need to budget it in 25. All right. Other questions or discussion for the KDOT presentation to the commission? Mr. Administrator, anything?
Broken on section of 83 is going to be left in place. What action is going to be done on the road? You said you're going to remove the shoulders, but are you going to do like a mill overlay or something, some sort of? What would you call it, maintenance work on it before?
So the only work that's anticipated to be done is to remove the 2-foot shoulders that are on the existing. And then that will go back with, turf shoulders there. But that is the only anticipated work.
John, did you have any other questions, sir? No. Okay. Anything else?
Or I'm sorry, I also I just misspoke, and I apologize. So there, I believe, is 10-foot shoulders, or there's wider shoulders, and they're going to remove the shoulders, and so there's only 2 foot of shoulders left.
Okay, very good.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
It does sound right.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Hall, is there anything else you need to add as our local district engineer?
not unless you have some questions. I guess just background, the reason the relocation of the Burnside intersection was to give distance from the bridge to develop turn lanes. If anybody's wondering why we had to move that, that was the purpose. Is to get far enough away that we could have the turn lanes.
All right, anything else from the commission? All right, thank you very much to KDOT. Thank you, Mr. Hall, really appreciate the question and answers and the exchange of information, and we'll meet the deadline and respond to you, Brogan, or to Ryan, or to Mr. Hall.
Awesome.
Or all of them, how about that? Very good.
Yeah.
All right, we'll
Thank you.
cancel this part or terminate this part and move back to our agenda item is a sewer easement for
Economic development,
sewer easement for 2109 Grandview East. Is that next on our agenda? All right, we'll now hear from Mackenzie. Please identify yourself for the viewing public.
Good morning again, Chairman and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. So this morning, the Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider and accept a public sewer easement generally located at 2109 Grandview East Drive. So Robert and Deidre Beamer, owners of the property, have requested to extend a private lateral line to connect to the Finney County Sewer District Number 2. The proposed sewer connection will cross over private property owned by Southwind Golf and Dining LLC. The owners of Southwind Golf and Dining LLC have agreed to grant the public sewer easement for the lateral line connection. The property owners of 2109 Grandview East Drive will be responsible for the installation and maintenance of the lateral line. So the alternatives before you this morning are the Board of County Commissioners may approve and authorize the chairman to sign the easement agreement, or the Board of County Commissioners may not approve and authorize the chairman to sign the easement agreement. And staff recommends alternative 1, which is to have, to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the easement agreement.
All right, I have a question for the administrator. All of Southwind was designed by the state and the sewer district to all have access. Is that correct?
When you say designed, very specifically, what are you saying?
Well, are we to have uniform access for all of the homeowners out there, or are we piecemealing this?
In essence, you're piecemealing it because the district was never fully created. So you have pockets of them out there that are not within the district, and services weren't extended because of that. So that's why you have this one and another home that is two homes to the southwest that were provided service through a lateral type connection, but should have been a main connection as it runs to the northeast.
All right.
The property 2107 on what I'm looking at on my aerial photo has it won't affect them. This is all out of the.
Yeah, it's all on it would all be on Southwind's property.
But the other properties like 2105 through 2101, they are connected, correct?
So 2105 is connected, 2103, there's a stub out there for them to connect in the future if they need to. And I believe 2101 is connected, but I'd have to check that.
And the homeowner, correct, is paying for this lateral extension?
Yes.
Okay.
Questions?
Well, a little follow-up on Larry's question. If the homeowner pays for it, pays for this installation, I understand that. I'm assuming then the homeowner will pay the monthly rate or the regular rate that the other customers are paying. But my question is this, Mackenzie, In the past, when somebody's been added to it, they were assessed an additional charge, if you will, to offset what the other customers have already paid to build the system. Is that part of this equation, or are they just gonna build the line, hook their house to the line and pay the standard monthly rate?
So, and either Dory or Robert, you can chime in on this, but from my understanding, they would be paying the user fee, monthly user fee. Now, the amount that was divvied out to, I know there's a certain area that's paying towards some of the installation for the sewer district. Since they're going to be installing their own lateral line, I don't think they're going to be paying towards that. Am I correct, Dory?
Yes, so the user fees are actually levied. There's not a user fee that's levied on a monthly basis. On a monthly basis, we do bill about a dozen properties out there that is repayment for a lateral that was put in several years ago.
All right. Any other questions with regard to the matter before the court before this commission to allow the easement and to approve it for the extension of the sewer district?
Jerry,
Yes.
you have
We'll hear from Mr. Kreitzer. Go up to the microphone, please.
My name's Bob Kreitzer. I'm here on behalf of the Southwind Homeowners Association. I think Robert did an excellent job in explaining that there's been a piecemeal attempt at a sewer district in that area. Approximately something a little less than half of the people are in the sewer district or connected to it at this point. There have been 3 different additions to that, kind of one at a time, if you will, along Grandview East, from basically where the Kensington properties end over to where Ty Brookover used to live, Dick Fankhauser. There were 4 houses involved. 2 have hooked up and 2 have not. At the other end, there were where Cliff Mayo used to live, and around Naniga and Crane and down, there were 7 houses, and 3 have hooked up and the others have not. And then the final one went back east, this area that we're talking about. Bob Temple is the first one. He is connected. Williams is the next. They are not. Harmon is the next. He is. The next one is not. And then the next one is Beamers. There was a connection fee established because the people who did originally pay for Sewer District 2 when it was created, all of us who paid for that did it over through the county who issued bonds, and we paid back over a 15-year period on a monthly rate and paid for that. The county did not. And the people who are joining have been paying a fee. The sewer district extension that went through, and Lot Taylor designed it at the time when Luke Schwederman was living out there and created it, they paid a fee to tie on, and then they paid the development cost. And Bob Temple and Harmon paid to connect to it, and also paid the installation. I think the thing I'm nervous about, I think the contractor, when they were working with McKenzie, who worked very well with and Costers and the Beamers to get this worked out, were advised that this would be the last one that could be connected to Sewer District 2. And that's scary, because there's still another 100 homes plus that are on septic out there and leach fields, and they don't work very well in that sand. And so perhaps the commission, working with your administrator, who now have an engineer doing sewer district work, including Sewer District 2, if we could look at a plan so that we don't continue to do stuff like this, just kind of tap in one at a time and come through some kind of a plan and go to the rest of the members of Southwind Homeowners Association and say, here's what it would cost to bring you in groups that are planned and designed. So this easement is great, but all of a sudden you're creating an easement who have 4 houses before that that were with the previous property owner who said, go ahead, never created an easement. And now we have an easement, one property wide, but there's 6 more houses to the west that could connect. And they could either flow this way or they could flow that way because there's sewer on both sides. So we need to make sure that we still keep track and have a plan so they can attend. Just wanted to have that input for the commissioner's knowledge.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Back to Mackenzie.
Commissioner, I will add that we're working with the contracted engineer to actually do that very same thing, to actually create a long-term plan for sewer main infrastructure within that entire development area.
It'd be wonderful to get it put together and published. Mackenzie, on this particular project, before the commission today is to accept the sewer easement and allow the person to, landowner to attach to this district number 2, correct?
Correct.
And they're paying the cost of construction, but not an access fee, correct?
They would still be charging a tap fee. There is a tap fee for the whole district, so they will be paying that.
Very good. So I want to make sure I understood
Mhm.
that the tap fee and their construction costs go to the landowner.
Yes.
Any other questions from the commission? Motion then?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the easement request and authorize you as chair to sign the agreement.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-1.
Thank you.
All right, next up on our agenda is to hear from the Finney County Economic Development Corp. Please announce, and good morning.
Good morning, Lana Duvall, President and CEO of Finney County Economic Development Corporation. Just a few things that we've been working on. We are working on some workforce development stuff. Our board chose to re-up our membership with the Southwest Kansas Career Showcase that I know you guys have been actively involved with. We feel like that is a really good partner to help us get into the high school students and the middle school students to continue to build our workforce at home. We're also doing some intern events and new employee events with some of our partners. So the City of Garden City, the County Attorney's Office has been a part of that, as well as the hospital and the community college. Just trying to engage those folks while they're in our community. If they're interns, catching them while they're here and helping them to understand what our community has to offer. But also if employers have new employees that are new to the area and want to get them involved in those events, we're welcoming those folks as well. We were in Washington, D.C. last week with our partners at the city, had good conversations with Senator Moran, Senator Marshall, and Congressman Mann. They seem very supportive still of the things that we have going on. There's a couple of asks out there right now for some federal assistance on some projects. The biggest one being a communications project for all of the law enforcement and first responders in the region to be able to communicate with one another. Right now we have a lot of the communities that just haven't been able to upgrade to the new encrypted software, so they're having to use their phones, basically their personal cell phones, to communicate, which, as you can imagine, when you've got a multi-county response to something, can be a real challenge. So we're hoping the federal government will be able to step up with some funds to help secure those communication tools across the region. And then, obviously, housing, still a big, big challenge for us. We continue to work with developers. We're starting to see a little bit more motion on some of the multifamily stuff. The interest rates have really impacted the ability for the developers to do those projects in a way that will actually pay them back. So we're looking at some creative ways to get financing in place for some of those and see if we can get some of those moving forward. I met with Empirical last week. Things are moving along well for them. They hope to have everything ready and have you folks in there so you can see that project hopefully within the next couple of months. So big undertaking, but they feel like they're really close to the finish line. And then higher education. We continue to work with our partners at Newman University and at K-State specifically, also with Kansas College of Osteopathic Medicine. They'll be back out with their interns, their intern program in July. So we're helping them to organize that event through transportation with community college. We've put together an event for them to go to the Garden City Wind game, and then we will provide a tour for them like we always do, where the economic development team goes on a bus ride with them, if you will, and gets them introduced to our community. And that's all I have for you. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Do you have any update, or there's a lot of activity on the fiber system going up and down 83 and off of 83. Do you have any input on where they are on that project?
We've met with both Idea Tech and Pioneer a couple of times, just getting updates on where they are. Things are moving along well. I do know that. Pioneer's installing currently in the Highlands Edition. They're actually getting the infrastructure in for all of those housings in there. And then Idea Tech has worked with us on ensuring that we can connect Randall Estates and some of those other areas as we expand out along the highway there. So things are moving along well as far as we know.
Idea Tech would be the one that is extending the service out to Holcomb and west of there, probably.
I believe that is correct. Yeah, I think they're the ones that have that contract. You need internet?
I would be more than.
All right. Any other questions? Nope. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you.
Having handled the treasurer's project, this would be a really good time for about a 7-minute break. And so we're going to be in recess, and we'll reconvene exactly at 10 o'clock. Next up on our agenda is the Finney County Fairground staff and their updated usage and fee schedule. Good morning. Please announce for the viewing public.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Stephanie Siebert, Finney County Fairgrounds Coordinator. So we are here today to request formal action by the board to approve the updated fairgrounds usage policies and fee schedule. A background on it, we did some minor updates and changes in November of 2021. However, in the best interest of Finney County, we have been working on an in-depth update of those policies. The last time any fees were adjusted or changed was in 2014, and at that time, the only change was applied to one facility. There were some previous changes back in 2010, however, that was the last time that I have access to any in-depth analysis that had been done relating to the fairgrounds fee schedule. So there was one additional change after submitting the agenda item to you guys. We would like to add under the cleaning and damage deposit.
What page?
It would be page 3. Well, it starts on page 2. So under the bullet point of facilities not left in the same condition as found prior to the event, we would like to add a sub-bullet that specifies removal of all trash from in and around the contracted facilities, including parking lots used, be disposed of in the provided dumpsters.
Okay, when was this amendment put together? Because the commissioners haven't had this.
The entire item was submitted. That
Our item is, but you're.
correct. Yes. So that was submitted the end of last week, Thursday. We added that to make it clear to event holders they are responsible for any trash, leaving no room for interpretation in the policies. So the alternatives before you are to approve the fairgrounds usage policies and fees as presented with that additional bullet added, or to decline the approved the fairgrounds usage policies as presented and direct staff on how to proceed. Our recommendation is alternative 1, approve the fairgrounds usage policies and fees as presented.
What is the timing of this? Is there some deadline that we're trying to reach, or can we have a complete document for an up and down vote?
Sure, so we send out letters to annual customers August 1st each year with their dates for their events in the next year. They have 1 month to get those back to us, confirming their dates. I wanted to allow an additional 30 days for them to review the new policies and procedures before having to confirm their dates for next year.
Mr. Chairman, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I think we have the complete document today except for the one addition that she's adding.
I agree.
So I'm just unclear. Are you suggesting that we not act on this today?
Well, I don't know what we're looking at. Do we have one that we can look at?
I thought it
That
was.
includes this?
Yeah,
Because I'm just not here.
well, not the one statement that she had. It's my understanding that the boldface items in the agreement are the amendments to your agreement. I mean, to your.
Yeah, so I have a copy with the highlighted portion.
That'd be great.
So maybe I'm missing something.
Right, this is her
Well,
requested amendment for
right.
today, which was not in our packet.
Right, I understand that, but it makes sense. That seems like a.
Do you like to see a counselor?
Because the rest of the changes were in the boldface in our document, correct?
No, the entire packet is new.
So
The
what were the boldface?
we want those to stand out to event holders as being important items.
Okay, so you rewrote the whole thing.
Correct, yep, we organized the entire policies, made them make sense, clarified where there was room for interpretation.
So those were just points of emphasis?
Correct.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure I understood. Yeah. Yep.
And this is the bullet point add-on that she wants to add
Right.
today, which was not considered to us in our packets.
Right.
But I don't think it's material.
Correct. That's where I would agree with you.
In the future, I'd like to have these with our packets the week before the commission meets. I don't like taking up matters that we haven't reviewed and got an opinion of council on.
Yes, sir.
Madam Counselor, do you see any problems with the additional bullet point?
I do not.
Very good. Any other questions for the administrator, fair administrator?
Got a comment I can make after we're done with this vote.
Well, you can make it now before the vote.
Huh?
Would you like to make it before we vote?
It doesn't make any difference. It's really, it's a compliment to Stephanie and her staff that I received from numerous people involved with Beef Empire Days, said that you guys went over the top on your ability to help them out and get the event up and going well. And so my only issue is that what we need to do in the future for the future planning is update the sound system in the arena.
So the sound system they used, they had a company bring it in. That was not our sound system.
Even all the events that were in the arena?
No, just the KPRA rodeo.
Okay, well, the event that I attended was the night before
For the ranch rodeo.
yeah, and you could not understand.
We do have it in the budget for 2025 to replace those speakers on the announcer's stand.
Thank you, because you couldn't understand anything they were saying, so it left the crowd in the dark.
And, well, go
We'll
ahead.
go right to left, go ahead.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I was just simply going to ask our administrator, because I think he needs to be involved, or he or the assistant need to be involved in all of these. I presume that you and/or Jenny have reviewed this with Stephanie and so forth, and it must meet with your approval, yeah, at this point. Yeah, all right, thank you.
And the amendment, Mr. Administrator?
As well.
All right, and Madam Clerk, would you keep that, because that's going to be the policy?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to offer a motion because I think we're going to have a busy agenda in the future meetings with budget and so on. So I'm going to move that we approve the presentation that Stephanie made, including the amendment about trash.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the fee and usage schedule as amended this morning and as submitted to the clerk as far as the record. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, who is doing the cereal malt beverage?
Mia Cheres from my office will be presenting that.
Good morning. Please announce yourself to the viewing public.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mia Chitis, and I am with the Finney County Clerk's Office. This is regarding a 2024 cereal malt beverage license. Black Bear Diner, which will be located in the TA Travel Center, has applied for a 2024 CMB license and has met necessary licensing requirements.
Are you recommending to us that we issue the cereal malt beverage as requested?
Yes, staff recommends to authorize the issuance of a 2024 CMB license to Black Bear Diner. The alternative is to decline to authorize the issuance of the 2024 CMB license to Black Bear Diner and direct staff.
Mr. Chairman, I move we authorize the issuance of the malt beverage to Black Bear Diner.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve. Is there any questions for Mia from Mr. Jones? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, by the way. Next, we will hear from the Assistant Administrator with regard to the appointment to the Finney County Child Care and Early Learning Network.
Good morning, Commissioners.
In late 2022, you all appointed me to this board to start in January of 2023. Since that time, I have taken over additional duties and it has limited the amount of times that I have been able to attend this. I have asked, actually Trista just volunteered and said she would be willing to take over this position in my place if you all would allow that, or unless one of you would like to be on that board for the county's position. And I am requesting that you appoint Trista to that board in my place.
Any questions for Jenny?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we appoint Trista Joyce, our county treasurer, to the childhood, I can't think of the exact name, board.
Okay, Finney County Child Care and Early
Right.
Learning Network.
I couldn't find it right here on my screen, so,
That's your motion?
yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and second to appoint Trista Joyce and allow Jenny to resign or have her term expire on that board. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's what happens when you volunteer, Madam Treasurer. You are appointed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did that without her being present.
That's what happens when you're not present, you get appointed.
Told.
All right, last thing on our business agenda is the Frito-Lay sewer tap request. This was a new agenda item from planning, but we're gonna take it up because of some timing and needed action.
Yes, I'll probably have Mackenzie help me out a little bit on this. This is a connection out in the Kansas corridor development area. We do have one business out there that is ready to connect. You do not, at this point in time, have formal policy for that or creation of that formal district, which we are working on. In order not to delay that connection, though, we are recommending a tap fee of $500 in addition to that. They would also be required to sign the petition for creation of that sewer district as well, and to adhere to the district's policies, which would include the same policies that the county as a whole agreed to as that sewer pump station is connected to the city's facility. So we're asking no more than that for that, just to move this on. Any questions?
I don't have any. I think I understand what we're doing. We're gonna have to have them agree to whatever we decide is the district, that they will comply with the to-be-announced district.
Correct.
Council will need some kind of writing to affirm that.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the $500 tap fee for Frito-Lay so they can continue with their project.
Is your motion also that they comply and sign an agreement to comply with the district requirements to be determined?
That could be included, yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve staff's recommendation to allow the tap fee for Frito-Lay in compliance with new district rules and regulations to be announced. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Board governance, Madam Clerk, meetings and events.
Customer number one.
I just wanted to mention that there's a ribbon cutting at the regional airport tomorrow. I think several of you were there for the groundbreaking a couple of years ago, so I just wanted to point that out. Other than that, it's your basic standard stuff.
Okay, and we have chamber breakfast on the 17th also at 7:30.
That would be in July.
Oh, excuse me.
The airport's 26th of June.
Let me get that on my calendar. I was the first paid customer through the terminal, by the way. into staff reports at this point, and the administrator, sir.
Once again, we continue to go ahead and finalize the budget document for your review and work session on the 1st. We do have a brief work session following today's general business session to finalize, get a few more comments from the commission so we can finalize that document moving forward.
Anything else, sir?
Nothing else.
All right. Development update, Mackenzie?
Good morning again, Chairman and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. I don't have many updates for you this morning, but I did want to let you know that we did have a pre-construction meeting for it's a new truck stop that's going over in Western Kansas corridor. They're only going to have truck refueling. They're not going to be allowing for truck parking overnight. But so we had that pre-construction meeting last week. And they should be, once they finalize everything with the purchase of the property, they'll be able to start construction. So, any questions for me?
Nope, I don't have anything else. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other department monthly reports, Mr. Commissioner, or Mr. Administrator?
None other than what was submitted.
All right, very good. Anything from the county counselor?
Been working through some other matters in addition to diligently going through for the tax sale. There were, and I'll say it's 2.5 properties that have been paid off, only because one property paid off the taxes, but not the penalties and interest, so still waiting for that end of it. My office did reach out to them, as well as the treasurer's office, to make sure they're aware that that has to be paid as well to get off of the tax foreclosure sale.
You're down to 21 properties?
I believe that's correct. One of the properties, as I was going through it, preparing the petition, does have approximately 23 owners. So it's been interesting, even just combing through those title searches, and then still, I did reach out last week to the Register of Deeds to get some additional information after combing through the title searches and all of that, to make sure that we have everybody on there that needs to be on there for that petition for that tax sale, but very close to filing now.
Very good. So the viewing public understands one tract of land with 23 owners is a difficult thing to do, and those things occur when you have a large family and then nothing is done for a substantial period of time. And now we hope, as a plaintiff in that case, that none of them divorce or pass away or other issues that create more title issues as we try to quiet the title at the same time that we do the tax sale. All right. Pay your taxes if you're one of the 21 on the list. Avoid it. It's coming. Commissioner reports. I want to hold up on that. Madam Counselor, is there a need for an executive session?
There is.
And how long do you expect, and who do you want to attend? And the purpose?
We have some matters of attorney-client privilege would be the reason for that executive session. We will need the administrator, the assistant administrator. One of the issues potentially, if the commission, it might be helpful to have the sheriff in there as well, and he is here.
Maybe what?
To have the sheriff involved in the executive session. Is there a motion?
What are you suggesting for a time frame?
Probably 20 minutes.
Maybe go 30.
Okay, up to 30 minutes. Mr. Chairman, I would move that we go into executive session for discussion with our counsel to include the administrator, assistant administrator, and our, and, well, of course, the counselor and our sheriff, and for a period of up to 30 minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to go into executive session with the persons named in the motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We'll be back in 30 minutes. as soon as we get a motion to go out of executive session.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to be out of executive session and back into regular session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll confirm that no action was taken during executive session. With regard to the negotiations with the city on the NDS agreement, I would ask for a motion to authorize the chair to address the county or city commission tomorrow at their 1:30 meeting, and to authorize the chair and county councilor to extend the termination deadline in the present NDS interlocal agreement.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
Go ahead.
well, let me, so that we're very specific, let me move that we authorize the extension of the deadline for termination of the NDS agreement. And we move that extension, or excuse me, that extension be moved from July 1 to November 1 of 2024.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you for the authority. I'll address the city commission tomorrow. We'll continue towards working to save taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars as we work with the city to improve the playbook, so to speak, for development here in Finney County and including inside the city and outside the corridor where development is likely to occur. I would ask the viewing public to stay tuned for this chair's comments tomorrow at the city commission meeting, and I'll be contacting the mayor to make sure that I will be able to address the commission at the time permitted and allowed by him. All right, anything else in that regard? Hearing none, then we'll go to our county commissioner reports. We'll go left to right. Commissioner Jones.
Don't have much, Mr. Chairman. I, like probably everybody here, met with justice planners for an informative 1-hour meeting, and then another meeting that I attended, not a meeting, but an event. Downtown Vision and Western Kansas Community Foundation, in a joint effort, accumulated funds and made a presentation to Mike at Traditions for a $20,000 gift. That gift has grown beyond $20,000 now, but I happened to attend that, and that was a nice event to see some community support to keep an 81-year in business still going. So that's the size of my meetings.
Commissioner Pashton.
Primarily just been in meetings with regard to the NDS agreement, with regard to the law enforcement center project, and nothing else to report.
All right, Commissioner Jones.
Likewise, justice planners, NDS, also the Economic Lifelines Committee that I was appointed to. They've requested I serve on their board, which would entail one meeting a year in person in Topeka, and the rest of them will be virtual. But they also request a stipend to the Economic Lifelines deal of $2,500 a year. So I guess what I need to do is ask for permission from my fellow commissioners to proceed with this. If not, I'll just be a non-voting member.
Well, are you willing to serve on the board of directors for the Economic Lifelines for the Kansas Association of Counties?
Yes.
And our check would be payable to the Kansas Association of Counties?
I think no, or I don't know how they do their financing, other than what.
I would say have them send us an invoice.
Okay.
They should have some.
I will request that.
Mr. Administrator, the source of the $2,500 for the board position appointment, is that a general fund or is there a special fund that we should?
No, we can take that out of the 24 budget, unclassified area.
Would someone make a motion to pay the appointment for the board fee?
I would so move for the, what's it called, Kansas?
Kansas Economic Lifeline.
Yeah, Kansas Economic Lifelines, in the amount of $2,500.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded that this commission pay to the Kansas Association of Counties, the Economic Lifelines Committee for appointment of Vice Chairman Larry Jones to the Board of Directors. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations on your appointment. My commission report is that I did meet with justice planners. It's a very interesting time in our community as we go forward with the development of a new facility, as well as the improvements in the model in the law enforcement center. Dovetails with a lot of things that are going on in our community. We do have the special session of the legislature, which I'll be keeping my ear to the ground as to any of the opportunities for some type of ad valorem tax relief, which directly affects all of our homeowners and property owners here in Finney County. From the chair's perspective, we'd really like to see some ad valorem tax relief out of the tax relief package. Presently, the communication that I received this morning during our session is that even the tax relief that was proposed prior, which was only $500,000, has now been taken off the table in the new tax bill. That's going to be going through committee this morning in Topeka. I know that's 305 miles away, but I urge the voting public to contact their representatives to provide for some economic relief to property owners. And ad valorem tax relief is the best method to get that done. The state is sitting on anywhere from 1.7 to $3 billion of excess funds. It seems that property owners should be entitled to some type of property tax relief. That's the matters that we have on our agenda. We have a work session that we need to get to. Is there any other matters before the commission? Mr. Administrator?
No, sir, no matters.
All right. Anything else, commissioners?
I'll move for adjournment.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. We'll proceed immediately to our work session.